we are going to fill it with a bunch of different knowledge and discoveries, and we'll start it off with our first speaker. So sustainable investments are at the core of SMIC's operations. So since 1958, they have woven sustainability and innovation into everything that they do, creating real impact through retail, banking, properties, and portfolio investments. So to discuss sustainability you can experience, let us welcome SMIC's Head of Investor Relations and Sustainability, Timothy Daniels.
Thank you and good afternoon. It's nice to be here. This is my first time to come to the NU campus here, although I've seen the branch in the Mall of Asia near where I work. And because I'm with SM, of course, I'm quite familiar with National University. I've seen the plans, I've seen the growth, and I've talked to the executives and the family members. So I feel very involved with NU and support your basketball team. Go Bulldogs. Sustainability you can experience. I wanted today to be very practical about the things that we actually really do on the ground in SM. Because when we talk about sustainability, I think for a lot of people it can sound really very distant, right? It can sound like we're talking about global targets. We're talking about reporting frameworks, scientific reports. We're talking about policy stipulation and compliance. That's not really what sustainability is actually about. And I think for most Filipinos, those terms, those things that we think about in the corporates and the academics, it's really a little bit irrelevant. What we really want to think about is sustainability every day. Sustainability is a part of who we are. And so in SM, that's also the approach we take. We think about every part of what we do and how does sustainability play into it. So it's not a side program, it's not a chapter or a report, it's part of who we are. So who is SM? Well, I think you already know us as a big group. And within the group, we have retailing, we have banking, and we have property, which is principally the SM malls that we all go to at the weekends. We also have other investments in things like renewable energy and in logistics within the group. So we are a big group and we have to do a lot of things. But the vision of the group is very, very clear. And every word in this vision is carefully chosen because it all means something about how we act. So we see ourselves as trying to build an ecosystem of sustainable businesses. And those businesses are catalysts for responsible development in the communities we serve. Those communities are our hosts. So for us, when we try to put that into action, it means sustainability is something that must be felt. And it's not something in the future, or it's not something that's far away. It's here and today. It's in all the small actions. So that means sustainability has to be woven into how we design our integrated cities and our properties. It has to be woven into how we operate our malls, how we curate our stores, the merchandise, the experience, and how we empower our people in order to have good, sustainable habits. And it means that sustainability needs to show up in everyday choices, quite often in ways that people don't realize until you look at what you're doing. So we try to design communities that actually reduce people's travel time. It's the bag that you bring to the supermarket. It's the water system that you're not aware of, but the one that's using recycled water in all of our properties. And the energy we're using that is renewable energy that is powering our malls and our different businesses. So when we say sustainability you can experience, what we're trying to say is it's sustainability that you can walk into, sustainability that you can choose where you live, choose where you shop, and it's sustainability that should enable you as a person to grow. Now, the word ecosystem was there in our vision for a purpose, because we don't see ourselves as just a big company. We see ourselves as working with many, many other groups of people. And we all need to be successful and win for SM to win and for everyone to benefit. So for us, this concept of stakeholders all operating together as an ecosystem is very important. If I just step through some of the key groups that we've had, like our customers, our people, our partners, we can talk a little bit about some of the practicalities. So it all starts with customers, and particularly because we're a retailing group. So we know our customers, and we have a deep understanding, we think, of what they want and what they need, and that comes from decades of serving them. Those insights help us to design our products, our stores, and the experiences around them. And part of that, we've learned from research that over 70% of Filipinos, particularly young Filipinos like yourselves, really want to make sustainable choices in their shopping habits. You prefer sustainable products. So it's up to us to make sure those products are easy to find, you can check that they really are what they say they are, and that they're affordable. We have a program that tries to make this easy. We call it Green Finds. So we check products that we put on our shelves, and we have found over 20,000 Green Find products that we tag in our stores because they're responsibly sourced, they're eco-friendly, they're low-impact. Fashion is an example of the kind of products we have, or they're healthier, or they're more natural personal and healthcare products. And some examples would be, if you go into Toy Kingdom these days, you will find there's a range of toys which don't use plastics. They're using wood, bamboo, organic cotton. This is so that we can have more sustainable products, and in so doing, we can start to teach young children about sustainable habits. In fashion, we try to encourage suppliers who are more eco-conscious. We have brands such as Code Blue who produce denim, and they do so using less water and fewer chemicals in the production of their products. And ideally, these suppliers are also using recycled fibers, so we have circularity going on in the materials for sustainable living. This sustainability goes into the very store that you're walking into, the thinking. So when you walk into many of our stores, we've now got 22 stores nationwide in 22 malls, which we have designated green stores. That's because they're intentionally designed to use global green building standards. So they use energy efficient lighting, they use better ventilation, they have water saving systems. They're aligned with the World Green Building Council standards and the ASEAN energy standards. As I say, as of October last year, we have 22 of these green stores nationwide. And the third thing that happens in our retail environment for our customers is we try to encourage people to have good habits. Good habits that are simple, but also sustainable, that you can carry on doing. And a really good example of this is the eco bags that we have. So eco bags, reusable containers, circular practices that we can practice at the checkout. We actually started early in 2007, ahead of the regulatory requirements. We had a program called Be a Part of the Mob. Mob, M-O-B, stands for My Own Bag. And as of today, we have avoided having to use millions of plastic bags that would be single use and would end up in landfill, or even worse, in the ocean, if people were using those instead of bringing their own bag, which we encourage. So these are examples of simple everyday actions that we can encourage through how we think about the habits in our stores. That's our customers. The next group of people that we deal with is, of course, our people, our own employees. We have over 140,000 people who work across the SM group. Actually, we've got hundreds of thousands, possibly into the low millions number of people who work broadly in SM, if you include our vendors and our tenants and our suppliers. But when we just look at the people we can directly work with every day, it's about 140,000 people. That group of people has to be diverse because our customers are diverse. So we encourage diversity within our workforce so that our people reflect the people they're serving. Not a lot of people will realize this, but actually 2/3 of the employees within our group are women. We're one of the country's largest employers of women. We also encourage women in small MSMEs, and we try to source, particularly in some of our stores, products from women-only organizations in the provinces. As well as 2/3 of our workforce, nearly 60% of our senior leadership are women. So we think we're a very female empowering company. But we also try to look after other minorities within our group. We have PWD-friendly pathways, and we look at our building designs, we look at our office practices to encourage PWD members of society to fully participate. We have gender-neutral restrooms, we have breastfeeding rooms, wellness rooms. We do this in our offices, we also do it in our malls and across our premises. We try to be equal opportunity to get into the group, equal opportunity to get promoted, equal opportunity to get rewarded across all members of society. We try to teach our people about sustainability. So I think we could probably claim to be one of the largest education providers for sustainability in the country. I know you've got courses here in NU, But in SM, we have our own sustainability school, which is specifically targeted at our people. And it is training modules that everyone from the rank and file all the way up to the most senior people can take. We've had tens of thousands of people take these courses, and through it, we offer people their own accreditation and certification from the SM Sustainability School. And generally, people find it really enjoyable and very positive. They actually want to learn so they can put this knowledge to use in their own lives. As a result of this, we've been certified as a Great Place to Work certification. That's something we're very proud of because it also demonstrates that when you have people-first culture and you focus on sustainability, those things can work to mutually reinforce each other. The third group of people I'd like to talk about is MSMEs. So small businesses, medium-sized businesses. And by the way, this is most of the businesses in the Philippines. I don't know if you realize, but actually companies like SM are the exception. We're noticeable because we're large, but most of the employment in this country actually happens through the MSME sector. It's the backbone of employment and the economy. SM actually started out as one of those small businesses, 60 years ago. And in our journey, we've grown up with our suppliers, we've grown up with our tenants, we've grown up with our vendors. We see these as partnerships because actually we need them all to be successful in order for us to be successful. We're like an armada of small businesses all working together under the SM umbrella. In our malls alone, we have over 100,000 MSMEs in our 89 malls nationwide. And we have specific stores like Cultura, whose purpose is to try and promote local Filipino SME products. So they have 158 small enterprises across the country. Many, like I was mentioning earlier, are women-led or they're small community-based enterprises. And they're producing everything from chocolate products to piña products, to handicrafts, to woven fabrics, to goods that people will export. And the biggest thing they sell is actually Philippine mangoes, which, take it from me, I always take these as pasalubong when I leave the country. Philippine mangoes go down really well outside the Philippines. The number one product inside Cultura is actually the dried mangoes. So these are all coming from small MSME suppliers that we're trying to encourage. And within the mall of SM, we have a program called SM for MSMEs, which is where we provide advice, we provide space, we provide lower rents, we provide funding, and we tutor companies in order to get access to markets. In our communities, we also recognize we have a responsibility and we try to uplift lives. That's that catalyst part of the vision that I talked about. So when SM opens a mall, it's not just a retail environment. We're actually trying to create a 15-minute city. The Mall of Asia is a very good example. Within the Mall of Asia, you have an NU campus, you have a mall, you have residences, you have offices, you have entertainment, you have 3 hotels, so it's actually a tourist destination. You've got the arena, you've got the SMX Convention Center, and they're all within a 15-minute walk of each other. So the goal here is reduce people's travel time. I mean, we all travel around Manila, right? But if you can reduce people's necessary travel time to 15 minutes, quality of life goes up, the emissions of your vehicles goes down, and everybody is more productive and has a more enjoyable life. So the way we design our cities is intended to be sustainable. Let me skip a couple of slides and talk about the environment for a second. So I've talked a lot about our stakeholders on the social side. But the environment is, of course, one of the critical ecosystems that we live in. The big things here to talk about is probably energy, water, and waste. So on the energy side, we all know we need to reduce our carbon footprint. SM Prime, the property company inside the SM Group, today, over 50% of its energy needs comes entirely from renewable energy sources. And they're going to get to 100% by the year 2040. That is our commitment, and they're on the way to getting there. In BDO, our bank, we're also trying to help other companies reduce their carbon needs. So BDO Bank is currently funding and supporting 63 renewable energy projects around the country. Everything from solar to water to wind to biomass to geothermal. They've put over 1 trillion pesos to use in order to develop these 63 projects so that we can have more renewable energy for other companies' uses as well. At our parent company, we recently bought a geothermal company called PGPC. They produce about 300 megawatts of steam, which is actually part of the renewable energy used by our malls. But we're actively investing that in 6 other areas around the Philippines. We're going to ramp up the production using that underground steam that the Philippines has as a renewable resource, and it's incredibly clean. It's like oil, but it's zero dirt, and you can put it back underground and it becomes very circular. So geothermal is something we're very committed to. On water, we recycle almost 16 million cubic meters of water a year. And we do it in creative ways. So in Baguio, we also have rainwater catchment facilities. We then treat that water and it becomes the water that's also used in the malls. In Hamilo Coast, which is just down the road, 2 hours from here, we have desalination plants. So we turn seawater into water that can be used within the hotels. And if you go to the residences, the SMDC residences around Moa, the water that comes from those buildings is cleaned and recycled, and it's then used for watering all of the plants around the Mall of Asia complex. When we look at waste, we have to separate waste, and we have to find ways to reduce landfills and to use it effectively and circularly. So with plastics, we formed a joint venture with a Japanese company in the last 2 years called Goon, and they take plastics that can't be recycled and they turn it into alternative fuel sources. So we're trying to take a problem and turn it into a solution, a win-win, a two-part win on that one. We're also separating our waste, and we're looking how to develop taking organic waste from the restaurants and the food courts in our buildings and using it in composting to create topsoil, which can either be used for our own gardens around our properties or donated to LGUs for municipal parks. That's the next thing that we're going to try and develop on the waste recycling side. And we have a hashtag SM Waste Free Future, which if you're interested, you can go and see all the various initiatives for the different types of waste after we separate it out. In the Philippines, the environment must also factor in the reality that we might be losing. We need to be prepared, and even if things don't get much worse than they are now, we have too many disasters, too many typhoons, and we need to look after each other, our properties, our communities, and our physical environment. So disaster resilience and preparedness is a key part of what we do, and we've done this for a very long time. You know, flooding is a very important topic right now, I understand that, but if you go to the Mall of Asia, it doesn't flood. That's because over 20 years ago, it was designed in anticipation of climate change and flooding becoming more prevalent with more typhoons. It's elevated, it has superior drainage systems, and it has sea walls that push water back out to sea in the event of storms. So the Mall of Asia just doesn't flood. In other places, like in Marikina, we know that is a floodplain. Flooding is unavoidable. So the solution there was we built the entire mall on top of 260, I think, stilts. So the water flows underneath. So our assets don't get flooded, our tenants don't get flooded out, our customers can come back, and our employees can come back and carry on earning the very next day when the waters have receded. It's preparedness that counts. In SM Canabatuan, we know that is also susceptible to flooding, and it affects the whole community. So when we built the mall there, we built large underground storage tanks that the flood water goes into rather than down into the housing areas. We try to capture the flood waters before it becomes a problem. And then after the storm, we gradually release it back into the local rivers. We're trying to be a good participant and member within our host communities. So disaster resilience is a critical part of sustainability and real sustainability impact for us as well. So all of these efforts, oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned, we also try to help people through our foundations. So we have programs that provide medical assistance, educational assistance, and these numbers come out in quite some scale. So we have been building clinics, we have been building medical centers, we have been funding scholars, we have been building classrooms, we have been running medical missions, which is running into the, not just hundreds of thousands, but it's in the millions now, number of people who are served. And this happens through our foundation, our CSR projects, but we work with the businesses in the areas where they operate so that we can also sustain the things that we build. Let me just close and then I'll show you a 1-minute video. I think I just about have time for that. So what I've tried to do in the last 15 minutes is show you examples across our SM ecosystem, how we do sustainability in practice. We kind of have 3 ecosystems, right? We have the ecosystems of our businesses, because all of our businesses work together to serve their customers. That's what makes us a strong group. But we also have the ecosystem of our stakeholders. So our partners, our customers, our tenants, our vendors, our employees. That's an ecosystem where everybody has to benefit. And sustainability is also about creating shared value like that. And then we have the physical ecosystem of the Philippine environment, which is very unique and very precious. We need to minimize damage, and we need to be resilient against challenges to that environment going forward. So we try to make our sustainability practical across all of those ecosystems. I think we're trying to do the right things, but we're not trying to do it because it's expected of us or because there's a report or because foreign investors want it. We do it because it's the right thing to do for our businesses. We're here on the ground, we're not going to go anywhere, and we want everybody to win. It's part of our responsibility. I will just stop talking and we can play 1-minute video. I mentioned MSMEs, and I just wanted to give you the perspective of what it's like to be one of those MSMEs that's benefiting from the program that we put in place to help them build their business. I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening, and play the video.
At SM Supermalls, we champion local entrepreneurs, giving them the biggest marketplace to thrive and succeed.
Nirefer lang po ako ng friend ko na nagbabasar dito sa SM. Kasi magandang opportunity po ang SM. Pag sinabi po kasing SM, high quality.
Kapag bumabaha, so yun po yung pinakakalaban namin pag nasa outside. Pero nung dumating po si SM, kahit bumabaha, halos lahat ng tao nagulat kami nandito sa mall.
The struggles really are low bookings of events kasi ang bookings every Saturday, Sunday lang madalas yan eh. That's why we joined the MSME.
Simula nung nag-join kami ng SM Bacoor, tumaas yung followers namin.
Malaking impact talaga si SM sa amin kasi yung traffic ng tao every single day and yung reach sobrang broad.
After we established or put up pop-up stores sa mga different SMs, calls got in, we have clients from different locations.
So sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs dyan,
we encourage you to join the SM for
MSMEs, sobrang laking tulong po niya.
Sobra, babaguhin talaga yung buhay.
You too can be part of this growing community. Take the next step. This is SM for MSMEs.
And we'll catch you again later for the panel discussion.